Shalom, Israel. Shalom, shalom. Right, it's Brother Kalak Ayash. And before I get started, I'd like to give all honor, glory, and praise to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahasham, Hamashiach, wa Malak Yahushai. That's how you would say God in the name of who the world intimately calls Jesus the Christ. But the true name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh, and it means He exists. And the true name of the only begotten Son is Yahweh Shai, and it means He delivers. The Most High God, Yahweh, sent His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, to deliver the so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American man, woman, and child, right, primarily here in America, better known as Babylon, according to the scriptures, and also scattered across the four corners of the earth. Shalom to the Akim, the brothers. Shalom to the Akwaf, the sisters, scattered, right, enduring this temptation, waiting for Yahweh Shai to establish His righteous kingdom upon this earth. All right, and before I get started, I'd like to give all honor, glory, and praise to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahasham, Hamashiach, wa Malak Yahushai. All right, so I'm going to get straight into it. I believe I saluted in twice, but hey, that's the spirit. So shalom. So the kingdom of heaven is patterned after the kingdom of David is patterned after the kingdom of heaven. And I'm going to explain what it's talking about. So got a map here pulled up, the map of David's kingdom, a visual guide to the United Kingdom of Israel. Just showing you this is the greatest extent of King David's kingdom. And I'm gonna go into the precepts, of course, to prove what the title is speaking of. So you see here, David ruled. Hey, this is the extent of King David's kingdom, right? The so-called Middle East, the land that there's never peace there because the true inhabitants, the true people that inherit this land are not there, right? So just to get a visual. All right, so I'm gonna go into the precepts. So Psalm chapter 122, and I'm gonna get verse number 5. For there are set thrones of judgment, the thrones of the house of David. I'll read it one more time. Psalms 122 and verse number 5. For there are set thrones of judgment, the thrones of the house of David. So the kingdom, David's kingdom, what we're looking at on this map, there's set thrones, meaning there's set people that's supposed to rule and govern this. King David, of course, being the king, and who he sets up. Because we're gonna go into like the ordinance and the pattern and the structure of King David's kingdom, and why I titled the lesson "The Throne of the Kingdom of Heaven" is patterned after King David's kingdom. All right, so I'm gonna go to another precept, just laying the foundation. Psalm chapter 132 and verse number 11. It says, Yahweh have sworn in truth unto David, he will not turn from it. Of the fruit of thy body will I set upon thy throne. If thy children will keep my covenant and my testimony that I shall teach them, their children shall also sit upon thy throne forevermore. For Yahweh have chosen Zion, he hath desired it for his habitation. This is my rest forever. Here will I dwell, for I have desired it. So the Lord desired to dwell and to give the kingdom to David and his descendants, that being us today. So we have beautiful things promised to us if we just continuously endure and search these matters out, right? Because this just stumbled across me listening to a elder like a week or two ago, and then I started to go into it, and I started to find out the kingdom of heaven will be patterned after the kingdom of David. So I'm gonna go to Isaiah chapter 9 and verse number 6, which right now, when as the Lord wakes his people up, as they're still in this great revival, the true revival of the lost sheep coming back to their God-given nationality, the Lord is raising up a government. So the government of David, the government of the kingdom of heaven. Isaiah chapter 9 and verse number 6. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. Now, that's a prophecy about Yahushua. And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty Power, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end upon the throne of David. So you see? So this will be headquarters, if you will. Right? The land, the Holy Land, from the Nile to Euphrates. It's even going to be greater than this. So from the great river Nile, the land that was promised to Abraham, to Isaac, to Jacob, that's going to be headquarters. From the Nile to Euphrates, what the world will call Greater Israel. That's going to be headquarters where the 144 and the elect will be. But this how kingdom Slakia, how and not this guy. Right? This guy's going to be in subjection in captivity, and we're going to prove it with the scriptures. These nations will be in subjection in the time of King David. We're about to go into it. So this is how the kingdom of heaven is going to be. You see, from the Nile all the way to the great river Euphrates. You see, So this is gonna be headquarters. This is the kingdom of heaven, the most fertile, the most holy land. This is it, and we're gonna rule the entire world from this land right here, our land. That's a promise to us. So we have beautiful things coming to us, man. Beautiful things. And the precept is just going to enhance the words that I'm saying. So I'm going to read it one more time. Isaiah 9:7. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end. Upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth even forever. The zeal of Yahweh of hosts will perform this. And this is it's beautiful. Now I keep saying it. Let me get the precept. Luke chapter 1 and verse number 32. In the New Testament, Luke chapter 1 and 32. Luke 1 and 30. And the angel said unto her, Fear not, Mary, for thou hast found favor with the Most High. And behold, thou shalt conceive in thy womb and bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahushua. He shall be great, and he shall be called the Son of the Highest. And the Lord power shall give unto him the throne of his father David. Now we understand that Joseph is his father, but it's going into a forefather because the Lord sprang out of the tribe of Judah. He sprang out of the lineage of King David. That's also a virgin birth trinity, virgin birth cut. The Lord came from a seed line of David, and the Lord's going to establish the kingdom of heaven. The Lord's kingdom is going to be patterned after the kingdom of David. All right. So I'm going to Revelation chapter 5 and 5. So everybody talks about heaven this and heaven that. Well, we're going to go into what heaven's going to be like, and what really sparked the lesson was when I started going into it, and you see how David got the kingdom, and you see the things that the Lord was okay with King David doing, and it's backed up as well as with the prophecies on what the elect is going to be doing. All right, so Lord, when it's edifying, it's not going to take long. Right, to get straight to the point. Revelation chapter 5 and verse number 5. And one of the elders saith unto me, Weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, hath prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. So what's that word for root? It's the Greek raza, and it means offspring. But I'm going to go into just so you can see. All right, for the brothers and sisters that like to take notes. Right, so raza, I think it said raza, or raza, or hariza, and root, that which like a root springs from a root, a sprout, a shoot, offspring. So Yahushua is from the offspring of the kingdom of David. So when the Lord comes back, he's going to establish his kingdom. The kingdom of heaven will be established after the kingdom of David. Now I'm going to go into a prophecy about Yahushua. And through the Spirit, if you have ears to hear, Yahushua was Solomon. Right? A lot of people can't receive it, but hey, that's okay, because the Lord's kingdom is going to be established anyway. But I'm just going to read this. 2 Samuel chapter 7 and verse number 14. 12. And when thy days be fulfilled, thou shalt sleep with thy fathers. This is the Lord talking to King David. After he goes up to the spirit world, what he said, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. Now we understand Solomon didn't rule forever, but the Lord's kingdom will be forever. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men and with the stripes of the children of men. So we understand Solomon did end up going off in his old age, but he ended up coming to pay for it when he came back in a regeneration as Yahushua. That's why Yahushua caught a lot of hell. All right? If you have ears to hear. Verse number 15. And that's not the only reason why, but that's one of the reasons why. But my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took it from Saul, whom I put away from before thee. And thine house and thy kingdom shall be established forever before thee, and thy throne shall be established forever. According to all these words and according to all this vision, so did Nathan speak unto David. So David knew what the kingdom of heaven was going to look like. He knew David was a prophet. So he understood very well. And I'm going to prove that. Matthew chapter 22 and verse number 43. Matthew 22 and verse number 43. I'll read verse 41. While the Pharisees were gathered together, Yahushua asked them, saying, What think ye of a Mashiach? Whose son is he? They say unto him, the son of David. He saith unto them, How then doth David in spirit call him Lord, saying, The Lord said unto my Lord, Sit down on my right hand till I make thine enemies thy footstool. If David then call him Lord, how is he his son? And no man was able to answer him a word, neither durst any man from that day forth ask him any more questions. So the point I wanted was 43. He said, look, how am I David's literal son? Because that's what our people was simple in this time. Now we just went into the word for the root in Revelation 5. It means offspring. But what the Lord was trying to tell them is he is the Messiah, which they couldn't receive. King David knew that, and he knew that his son, right, that the Lord was going to spring from his offspring. So the King David knew very well how the kingdom of heaven was going to be. And then what's going to we're going to segue into in verse number 48. The Lord said unto my Lord, sit down on my right hand till I make thy enemies thy footstool. So this will really spark the lesson. I try to get out early, but it didn't come out smooth. The kingdom of heaven will be us, the Israelites, the seed line of David, the 12 tribes of Israel, ruling over their enemies. Because the kingdom of David was him ruling over his enemies, having his enemies in subjection, having his foot on his enemy's neck. That's a part of the kingdom of heaven, which a Christian and somebody that doesn't understand the Bible, they will never receive that. But we're going to make it clear as day through the Spirit. We're going to make it clear as day through the Spirit. 2 Samuel chapter 23. 2 Samuel 23 and verse number 2. I'll read verse 1 and 2. Now these be the last words of David. David, the son of Jesse, said, and the man who was raised up on high, the anointing of the power of Jacob and the sweet psalmist of Israel said, the spirit of Yahweh spake by me, and his word was in my tongue. So it's just a precept proving that the spirit of the Lord was with David. So David knew. David was a prophet. He understood very well. So the things he was doing, which we're going to get into, how David was subduing his enemies, putting his enemies to death, making subjects of his enemies, making his enemies slaves. The Lord was okay with that. The Lord was with David. And mind you, Yahweh's kingdom, the kingdom of heaven, is patterned after the kingdom of David. We just read it in Luke. Let's read it one more time. Let's read it one more time before we really get into what David had going on. Luke 1 and verse number 32. Luke 1 and 32. We know this is the birth of Yahweh. He shall be great, and he shall be called the Son of the Highest, and Yahweh power, or Adawan, the Lord God, Yahweh power, right? God being Allah or Allahayim, right? Well, Allah in this case, shall give unto him the throne of his father David. So he's going to have the throne, the kingdom of heaven is going to be patterned after the kingdom of David. All right. So now let's go to, I got one more proving that David was a prophet. I got them written down, so I got to go to him. Acts chapter 2 and verse number 29. Wait, what I got there? Hold on, Salaki. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, come on. Acts chapter 2 and verse number 25. For David speaketh concerning him, I foresaw the Lord always before my face, for he is on my right hand, that I shall not be moved. So David seen the kingdom. David seen the Lord's resurrection. David, you gotta understand, the Lord showed his prophets the same things. They wrote it down different. They explained it different because everybody has a portion of their own spirit. But David seen. Verse number 26. Therefore did my heart rejoice, and my tongue was glad. Moreover, also my flesh shall rest in hope, because thou wilt not leave my soul in hell. So the Lord, David knew he was coming back. Neither will thou suffer thine Holy One to see corruption. He knew Yahushua wasn't going to corrupt in the grave, that he was going to come out and resurrect. Thou hast made known to me the ways of life. Thou shalt make me full of joy with thy countenance. So this is beautiful. But what I want was, I'm going to keep reading. Men and brethren, let me speak freely unto the patriarch David, that he is both dead and buried, and his sepulchre is with us unto this day. Therefore, being a prophet, and knowing that Yahweh hath sworn with the oath to him, that of the fruit of his loins, according to the flesh, he would raise up a Mashiach to sit on his throne. Call Allah Yahweh Bashim Haushai. Now let's go into King David's throne, shall we? 2 Samuel 5. 2 Samuel chapter 5 and verse number 4. David was 30 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 40 years. In Hebron, he reigned over Judah 7 years and 6 months. And in Jerusalem, he reigned 30 and 3 years over all Israel and Judah. Salaki, 1 second. And the king and his men went to Jerusalem unto the Jebusites, the inhabitants of the land, which spake unto David, saying, except thou take away the blind and the lame, thou shalt not come hither. thinking David cannot come in hither. So what the nations do, they mock David. The Jebusites said, look, ain't nothing you could do. To read it to give you like a better understanding what this heathen is saying. He's mocking David. David then led his men to Jerusalem to fight against the Jebusites, the original inhabitants of the land who were living there. The Jebusites taunted David, saying, you'll never get in here, even if the blind and lame could keep you out. For the Jebusites thought they were safe. And right now the nations think they're safe. But the Lord is establishing the kingdom of David right now. The house of David is waxing strong. Now, can we say for sure what the house of David? No. But the house of David is waxing strong now. What are these nations doing? They're mocking. They're mocking us. But it will go down. As what happens with what did King David do? I'm gonna keep reading. Verse number 7. Nevertheless, David took the stronghold of Zion, the same as the city of David. So David took the kingdom. Isn't it written, the saints shall take the kingdom? So the saints are taking the kingdom as we speak right now. So the first start of I gotta get it. The first start of, because again, the whole point of this lesson is the kingdom of heaven is patterned after the kingdom of David. So one of the first things King David did when he became king is he took a city down. He took his enemies down. So when the Lord gives his men the power, we're going to take our enemies down through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is going to give the decree. There's nothing new under the sun. This is why Christianity is so prevalent. And he's saying this, they don't want the Lord's men to understand the prophecies and understand the will of the Lord. That's what this whole thing is about. That's what all these distractions is about that's happening in the world. In chapter 2 and verse number 44. First take the kingdom. I think it was 18. But this is beautiful too. I get both. Daniel 2 and 44. And in the days of these kings, the kings right now, that the power of heaven set up a kingdom. Like the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of David, the kingdom of heaven, again, is being established right now, which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. So we're about to rule forever. That's what Satan don't want you to know. We about to rule forever. Daniel chapter 7 and 18. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. Didn't David take Zion? Didn't he take this and reclaimed it the city of David? But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Emphasis. The Lord really mean that thing. Now I'm going to go back to 2 Samuel. I think I read that already. See, I jumped the gun. But no, I'm going to go back to it. I did jump the gun. I'll read it again. 2 Samuel 7, verse number now I'm gonna go to 8. 2 Samuel 8. I read that already. A couple more. All right. Lord willing, this is edifying, and we're learning something. We gotta continuously grow in this thing. 2 Samuel chapter 7 and verse number 8. No, I gotta start up a little bit. And I gotta read this in the NLT too, because it's beautiful. You know what? I will read it in NLT to show you how the kingdom of heaven is going to be, what the Lord's people is going to be doing. 2 Samuel 8 and 1 in the NLT. After this, David defeated and subdued the Philistines by conquering Gath, their largest town. David also conquered the land of Moab. He made the people lie down on the ground in a row, and he measured them off in groups with the length of rope. He measured off 2 groups to be executed for every one group to be spared. The Moabs who were spared became David's subjects and paid him tribute money. So this is the throne of David. Look what David's doing to his enemies. So, and brothers is called hate groups and extremists and radicalism and all this damn madness when brothers go out and teach and read what the prophecies say. And this is the history. This actually happened. So you can see how this world is anti-Bible, anti-truth, anti-Messiah, anti-Christ, if you will. This whole world. Because we're not making anything up. Prior to us knowing who we are, prior to us to knowing the will of the Most High, we didn't know anything. Now we know. Now it's the worst thing in the world. Because it's the truth, brothers. It's the truth, sisters. We're about to rule in the throne of David in the kingdom of heaven. 2 Samuel 8 and 3. David also destroyed the forces of Hadazar, son of Raab, king of Zobah, when Hadazar marched out to strengthen his control along the Euphrates River. David captured 1,000 chariots, 7,000 charioteers, and 20,000 foot soldiers. He crippled all the chariot horses except enough for 100 chariots. When the Armenians from Damascus arrived to help King Hadazar, David killed 22,000 of them. Then he placed several army garrisons in Damascus, the Armenian capital, and the Armenians became David's subjects. Mind you, this word subject is slaves. Let me just go into it. If you're subject to someone, you're a slave or servant. Ibad, right? Slave. So the King David is conquering his enemies and they're becoming his slaves. So are we wrong when we tell the nations, get ready for slavery, prepare for slavery? I mean, madness, man. So, and then this is the point I wanted. Then he placed garrison. Hold on, let me make sure. I skipped over this. 2 Samuel 8 and 6. I'm getting a little excited. Then he placed several garrisons in Damascus. What's garrisons? Military fortresses to keep the nations in check. How Babylon got military forces, embassies, if you will. How Babylon got embassies everywhere across the world. This is how the kingdom of heaven is going to be. Mind you, we showed you. This is going to be headquarters. And then there's going to be garrisons across the four corners of the earth. Right? So all praise to the Most High. 2 Samuel 8 and 6 again. Then he placed several army garrisons in Damascus, the Armenian capital. And the Armenians became David's slaves or subjects and paid him tribute money. So Yahweh power made David victorious wherever he went. And the Lord was with this. God, Yahweh, Hashem Yahushua is okay with this. It's okay to rule over your enemies. It's okay to do it in righteousness. The world just got to witness the rise of throne in the kingdom of David. I'm not going to read the whole chapter as bad as I want to. I'm going to jump down to verse number 11. King David dedicated all these gifts to Yahweh as he did with silver and with gold from the other nations he had defeated, from Edom, Moab, Ammon, Philistine, and Amalek, and from Hadazar, son of Rahab, king of Zobah. So David became even more famous when he returned from destroying 18,000 Edomites in the valley of Salt. He placed army garrisons throughout Edom, and all the Edomites became David's slaves or subjects. In fact, Yahweh made David victorious wherever he went. So the elect is about to be victorious wherever we go if we be a part of that number. Lord willing, that's us. But the Lord did say he was going to give us praise and fame if we be of that number. So Lord willing. All right. So I'm gonna get a couple more. Zechariah chapter 8, Zephaniah chapter 3, Shalakia, and verse number 19. Behold, at that time I will undo all that afflict thee. And that's what the Lord is doing right now with all this chaos upwards of the people. The Lord bringing down, bringing earthquakes and the political, everything that's going on, right? Everything that's going on. Check out the prophecy updates, whether it be from me or any brother, or you make a video yourself, get into the prophecies, because the Lord is undoing all that afflict us. And I will save her that halteth and gather her that was driven out. And I will get them, the elect, praise and fame in every land they have been put to shame. So, I'm reading one more time. The Lord, 2 Samuel 8:14, he placed army garrisons throughout Edom, and all the Edomites became David's subjects. In fact, Yahweh made David victorious wherever he went. He gave David fame and made him victorious. Now I'm in the NLT because it magnifies it. Isaiah chapter 60. I will read the whole chapter, but I'm not. So this is the kingdom, the future of the glory for Jerusalem. Isaiah 61. Arise, Jerusalem. Let your light shine for all to see. For the glory of Yahweh rises to shine on you. Darkness as black as night covers all the nations of the earth. But the glory of Yahweh rises and appears over you. All nations will come to your light, meaning they're going to see the Lord do good for us. The kingdom of heaven. We're reading the kingdom of heaven, Isaiah the 60th chapter. Mighty kings will come to see your radiance. Look and see, for everyone is coming home. Your sons are coming from distant lands. Your little daughters will be carried home. The curse is being reversed, because one of the blessings is that our the tender and delicate woman that wouldn't peradventure to set her delicate foot on the sole of the ground. Verse number 5. Your eyes will shine and your heart will thrill with joy, for merchants from around the world will come to you. They will bring you the wealth of many lands. Vast caravans of camels will converge on you. The camels of Midian and Ephah. The people of Sheba will bring gold and frankincense and will come worshiping Yahweh. The flocks of Kedar will be given to you, and the rams of Nabaioth will be brought from my altars. I will accept their offerings and will make my temple glorious. So you see, Now, this is not salvation for the nations. This is salvation for us. And the nations coming and giving us their tribute. They're under us and subject unto us, and they're worshiping our power. Now, if they could accept that crumb, then all praise to the Most High. But they're not joint heirs with us. That's what the world keeps trying to confuse our people with. This is no. They're gonna be our tributes in the kingdom of heaven. Now I'm gonna prove it. Where is it? I'm gonna read start at 10. Foreigners will come to rebuild your towns, and their kings will serve you. For though I have destroyed you in my anger, I will now have mercy on you through my grace. Your gates will stay open day and night to receive the wealth of many lands. The kings of the world will be led as captives in a victory possession. For the nations that refuse to serve you will be destroyed. The glory of Lebanon will be yours. The forest of cypress, fir, and pine to beautify my sanctuary. My temple will be glorious. That's it. I said I was going to read the whole chapter. I'll read one more verse. The descendants of your tormentors will come and bow before you. Those who despise you will kiss your feet. They will call you the city of Yahweh and Zion of the Holy One of Israel. Why you close the book with that? You close the book with that. That's the kingdom of heaven, if you didn't know. Revelation 19 and verse number 12. Revelation 19 and 12. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, a chariot, a fellowship. And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war. So the Lord's coming back to judge and to make war. His eyes, where do I want many crowns at? His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. The Lord's coming to take down the rulership of other nations. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. Because nobody knows the mighty fashion on how he's about to do it. We don't know exactly how big the chariot is. We don't know exactly detailed description on even what the Lord looked like. But we're going to know in that day. Romans chapter 8 and 16. I'll get two more. Romans chapter 8 and 16. And also a refresh name, new going into, never heard of before. Because the majority of the world don't believe or even know the name Yahweh and Yahushua. But again, they will in that day. Romans chapter 8 and 16. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of Yahweh. And if children, then heirs, heirs of Yahweh, and joint heirs with the Mashiach, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. So, hey, we're going to be joint heirs with Yahushua. And what's one of the things that the Lord promised Yahushua? If we continuously suffering and enduring like the Lord did, Psalm chapter 2 and verse number 7, I would declare the decree Yahweh have said unto me, thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with the rod of iron, thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. So what are we commanded to do? Be wise now, therefore, O ye kings, be instructed, ye judges of the earth. And that's us. Lord willing, that's us. It's somebody. All right, so Lord, when I was edifying, the kingdom of David is patterned after the kingdom of heaven. We have beautiful things promised to us if we continuously endure and wait patiently for our king. All right, so with that, I give all honor, glory, and praise to the Most High God, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, HaMashiach, Malak, Yahweh Shai. Till next time, family, Shalom.